Is your arm tired today, Drew?
No, it's I think coming off a game like that, it's still kind of a whirlwind when you think about it. Just the back and forth nature of the game and just all the crazy things that transpired during the course of it. But I'm just glad we came out on top. It was hard fought all the way around, but it was a big win for us.
Have you ever thrown 7 touchdowns in a game, whether high school or college, anywhere?
No.
Not even high school?
No, not even high school. College, 6 a few times, but not 7.
Do you get into a zone? Shooters talk about getting into a zone. As a quarterback, do you get into a zone with a game like that?
Honestly, because of the nature of that game, it was so back and forth that, typically when you have a night like that, and we've had nights like that where, man, everything seems to work and, you're moving the ball well and you're scoring a lot of points. And by the time you get to the fourth quarter, you might have a 2 or 3 touchdown lead. And so your mentality changes a little bit as far as how you're playing the game. It's more ball control. It's let's use up the clock. But in a game like this, it was, we were matching each other point for point as we went along. So it was hard not to just stay very focused on each drive, each series, one at a time, because we knew the way the game was going, we were going to have to score a lot of points, and we were going to have to be very, very efficient. And I felt like we had the momentum on our side for most of the game, and then all of a sudden in the fourth quarter, the Giants scored 21 unanswered. So we were up 14, and then all of a sudden we found ourselves down 7 points with about 6 or 7 minutes left in the game, knowing that we now had to go down, score a touchdown, tie the game. Didn't want to give them too much time left to have an opportunity. And then that crazy sequence of events at the end where, they punt to us, we return it, fumble, get the penalty, it moves us up a little bit, and then we have a chance at a field goal with 5 seconds left to win, and we knock it through. It was pretty unbelievable how it all came together.
I asked Jeff Gordon about this a few years ago. I said, how important is it for you to continue so your kids can watch what you do and appreciate that? You're only 36, but do your kids understand what Dad does?
Yeah, they do. So we have 4 kids, 3 boys and a little girl. Little girl's just 1, so she just wears her pink number 9 jersey and just runs around yelling "Dada." But the 3 boys are really into it, and I think the atmosphere in the Superdome too. They get into it, they love it. Here was the problem with yesterday's game, and that is my sons go to Newman High School, which is where they go to Newman School, which is where Eli Manning and Odell Beckham went to high school. So my oldest one decided that he was going to cheer for Odell Beckham and Eli Manning.
Wow.
During the game. And Eli goes and throws 6 touchdowns and Odell scores 3. But I said, buddy, you're lucky we won that game. But it was funny because even this morning as we got up, he's very artistic. So he wanted me to draw the Saints logo on a piece of paper and the New York Giants logo. And he wanted to draw a picture of Odell Beckham scoring a touchdown and then, draw the score underneath, on the scoreboard that he had drawn. And it continues. So, yeah, they're into it. And they kind of know what's going on. And that's fun. That makes you want to continue to play as long as possible so that they can continue to be a part of it.
Yeah, next time he wants something, just say, why don't you ask Uncle Eli?
I know. Well, now he wants an Odell Beckham jersey, so we're having to contemplate this decision.
You look around, though, you see what Brady's doing. Peyton's still playing, had a big game last night. Do you look at your career differently than, say, if I talked to you when you're 31 or 32 of how long you were going to play?
I think it goes in stages. When I first got in the league, I was a second-round pick, drafted to the San Diego Chargers, and Doug Flutie had been signed to be the starter. So I knew my role coming in, I'm going to back up Doug Flutie and then maybe have an opportunity to compete at some point. And so in the beginning, I just want to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. You're not even thinking about number of years that you're going to play. I just want to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. And then, my second year, I had a chance to compete with Doug, and I won the job. And so then at that point, you're like, okay, well, I'd love to, lead my team to the playoffs. I'd love to, be a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. How can I make it to that level? And then a couple of years later, you make it to that level, and then you start to kind of think, okay, longevity here. If I can make it to double digits, or if I could play 10 years, wouldn't that be something? And then you make it to 10, and then you kind of set the goal on, well, maybe if I can make it to 35, and then you make it to 35, and you say, well, what's next? Well, why not 40? But I'm not naive though to realize that this is a what have you done for me lately business, and it's it's all about winning. It's all about can you continue to perform at a high level and give your team the best chance to win. And so you got to prove it each and every year. Forget what you've done in the past. So I try to take that mentality with me every day.
You expect to finish your career in New Orleans?
Absolutely.
The Drew Brees Touchdowns for TRX training program. Tell me about that.
Well, so I've had a great partnership with TRX Training here for the last 10 years. It was actually a piece of equipment that I used when I was rehabbing my shoulder after I dislocated it back in 2005, and it was a big part of my training regimen then. It continues to be, and so anyway, we partnered up to do a kind of a charitable thing here where over the month of November, TRX is going to donate 9 TRXs to a local school in the city that we're playing for every touchdown that we throw. Well, it just happened that they started this in the month of November, throw 7 touchdowns yesterday. So do the math. That's 63 TRXs that are now being donated to Brentwood High School in the city of New York. And it's a great campaign. It's obviously puts a big emphasis on physical education in our public schools, especially, which I know in many cases there have been cutbacks there, which I think it would be a travesty if that's eliminated from schools. It's such an important part of, I think, kids' development. And if you look at the statistics, it certainly helps with their academic performance as well. So it's a great thing TRX Training is doing by donating these TRXs to all these schools. And also, we're giving people an opportunity to have a chance to win a trip to come to see our last home game here in New Orleans, December 27th, and have a chance to meet me as well. So people can go to trxtraining.com/Drew-Brees to enter for that.
Awesome. Well, rest the shoulder, and hopefully your oldest is impressed a little bit by what Dad did yesterday in the Dome.
He's not, but that's okay. Maybe I'll get there someday. It's just motivation.
Thank you, Drew.
All right, Dan. See you.
Drew Brees, Saints quarterback.